else?
River City next.
Cash for the merchandise. Cash for the button hooks. Cash for the cotton goods. Cash for the hard goods. Cash for the soft goods. Cash for the fancy goods. Cash for the noggins and the piggins and the firkins.
Cash for the hogshead, cask and demijohn. Cash for the crackers and the pickles and the flypaper.
Look, what do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
What do you talk?
You can talk, you can talk, you can bicker, you can talk, you can bicker, 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 you can talk, you can talk, you can talk, bicker, 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 you can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't, but you gotta know the territory.
Why, it's the Model T Ford made the trouble, made the people want to go, want to get up and go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 22, 23 miles to the county seat.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Who's gonna patronize a little bitty 2x4 kind of store anymore?
What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
Not the Model T at all. Take a gander at the store, at the modern store, at the present day store, at the present day modern departmentalized grocery store. What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
Where do you get it?
You can talk, you can bicker, you can talk, you can bicker, you can talk, bicker, 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 you can talk all you want, but it's different than it was.
No, it ain't, but you gotta know the territory.
Why, it's the Unita biscuit made the trouble. Unita. Put the cracker in a package. The Unita biscuit in an airtight sanitary package made the Cracker Barrel obsolete.
Obsolete. Cracker Barrel went out the window with the mailbox cut plug showing by the stove. Changed the approach of a traveling salesman. Made it pretty hard. No, it didn't, but you gotta know the territory.
Gone.
Gone with the hogshead, cask and demijohn. Gone with the sugar barrel, pickle barrel, milk pan. Gone with the tub and the pail and the tears.
Ever meet a fella by the name of Hill?
Hill?
No!
Just a minute.
Never heard of any salesman here.
Now, he doesn't know the territory.
Doesn't know the territory.
What's the fella's line?
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line.
Or the Cracker Barrel being obsolete, or the Unita biscuit in an airtight sanitary package, or the Model T Ford.
Just a minute.
Never worries about his line.
Never worries about his line.
Or a doggone thing. He's just a bang beat bell ringing big hall great go necker nothing rip roaring every time a bullseye salesman. That's Professor Harold Hill.
Tell us what's his line.
He's a fake and he doesn't know the territory.
Look, what do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk?
He's a music man.
He's a what?
He's a what?
He's a music man, and he sells clarinets to the kids in the town with the big trombones and the rat-a-tat drums, and the big brass bass, and the piccolo with uniforms too, a shiny gold braid on the coat, and a big red stripe running.
Well, I don't know much about bands, but I do know you can't make a living selling big trombones. No, sir. Mandolin picks, perhaps, and here and there Jew's harp.
No, the fella sells bands, boys' bands. I don't know how he does it, but he lives like a king, and he dallies, and he gathers, and he plucks, and he shines, and when the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. When the man dances, certainly, boys, what else? The piper pays him. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But he doesn't know the territory.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Great Speed, our weekly look back at some of our and your favorite Goodspeed productions. Thank you for joining us. I am Donna Lynn Hilton, producer for Goodspeed Musicals, and that was the fantastic company of Goodspeed Musicals 2019 production of Meredith Willson's The Music Man performing Rock Island, the opening number of the show.
And I'm Dan McMahon, Director of Marketing. Thank you all for joining us. Before we get started, just a reminder, if you have comments or questions, you can type them in the box at the right of your screen, or you can text them to 860-638-7157. There's the number. We'll roll that a couple of times during the course in case you miss it this time around. But we love seeing your comments. We love sharing their comments. They may pop up on the screen, on the big screen here. And it might interest some of you to know who watch regularly that we usually end up with 400 to 600 guests watching the show. So imagine you're at the Opera House in the audience. It's a full house, so let's sit back and enjoy the show.
Thanks, Dan. And it is true that you gotta know the territory, and we do here at Goodspeed, and we know they want us to get right to it. So we will do that. The Music Man launched our 2019 season a year ago. This time we were in production. We were in performance for The Music Man. It was directed by Jen Thompson, choreographed by Patty Wilcox, with set design by Paul Tate DePoo, costume design by David Tozer, lighting design by Paul Miller, who I ran into on 8th Avenue the last day that I was in New York City in early March. And hair and makeup design was by Mark Adam Rampmeyer, sound design by my best beloved, Jay Hilton. Casting was by wonderful Paul Hart, who has cast so many beautiful productions for us. Music direction by our own Michael O'Flaherty in what was his final season at the Goodspeed. And Dan DeLange created the beautiful orchestration, as he has done on so many projects.
Well, let's welcome our guests. Jen Thompson.
Hi. Drum roll.
Patty Wilcox. And Stephanie Pope, who played the role of Eulalie McKechnie Shin, right here with us tonight. So,
hi, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
How is everyone?
Well, good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So we like to catch up, find out a little bit about how people are managing during all of this. So Jen, we'll start at the top of the food chain. How have you been doing? Where are you? How have you been? What's new in your life?
I'm in my basement in Brooklyn.
I love the background, by the way.
Thanks. This is my workspace. In fact, Patty and I have sat right in this very spot working on Music Man and many other shows. Including Bye Bye Birdie at Goodspeed. And here's my wall of, I don't know, stuff. There's Anna Green Gables.
Yeah.
So I'm here in Brooklyn. I've been actually just starting to start a month in New Jersey with my brother and sister-in-law and their kids. And actually Naomi, my daughter, is out there now. And I'm here for the rest of the week, and then I'll join them and we'll be there for the rest of the month just to kind of get out and, we all tested at the same time, and we're going to sort of commingle our families and ride out at least July together, so our kids can have some playmates.
Good, excellent. And Patricia Wilcox, I should have introduced you as Patricia before we started getting casual and calling you Patty. How have you been?
Good. We're at home in Lower Westchester, and our boys are 23 and 26-year-old boys have rejoined us.
Oh, good.
And so we're all back under one roof. And because of that, I have discovered gardening.
Oh. You need to get out of the house.
I am in the backyard all the time.
I need Patty. She'll be in the backyard. All right. And Stephanie, thank you for being here. And you're upstate, right?
Absolutely. I'm upstate, Andes, New York. My husband, Arnie, has a beautiful family home here. And it just feels good to kind of get out of the fray. Normally, we're in Edgewater, New Jersey. But we've been here, and it's been great.
Were you working, Stephanie, when this all hit us?
Oh, my goodness. Patty's going to love this.
Oh.
Because Patty has worked for a Norwegian cruise line for many years.
Oh.
And I was contracted to open a production of After Midnight. So after rehearsing, we opened on March 12th.
Oh.
We did 2 shows on March 12th.
Dear.
After the first show on March 13th, they pulled me into the office and said, "We're getting a plane ticket. You're going home tomorrow." So
wow.
I literally did 4 shows and was on a plane coming home. So, and have been home ever since. But I have to tell you, I must say, I felt very safe. I just got to get that out there because everybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're on a ship." They were so wonderful with taking care of us, and they're taking our temperatures and making sure that we were. I felt safer on the ship than I did when I got into the airport. I thought, "Oh my goodness," So so
Good
that, and I've been home ever since.
Good. So shout out for Norwegian Cruise Lines. I know we're all ready to take one. All right. So let's get to the show. We're going to look at some more clips. This is a fun night of just looking at clips and reminiscing about what we all created together. And in this case, it was a beautiful production. So let's look at Ed Watts, Goodspeed's Music Man, in You Got Trouble.
You got lots and lots of trouble. I'm talking about the kids in the knickerbocker, shirt-tailed young ones peeking in the pool hall window after school. You got trouble, folks, right here in River City. Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. You got trouble, right here in River City. With a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. We've surely got trouble, right here in River City. Remember the Maine, Plymouth Rock, and the Golden Rule. Oh, we got trouble. We're in terrible, terrible trouble. That game with the 15 numbered balls is a devil's tool. We've surely got trouble, trouble, trouble. Oh, yes, we got trouble here. We got big trouble. With a T, got a rhyme with P, and that stands for pool.
Oh, I'm going to have to stop. I want to see more.
I know.
I love that button. I have to say, I love that button. I remember the day that we staged that and kind of figured that out, and I thought it was really swell.
I think I stumbled into the rehearsal hall that afternoon. I have a memory of that.
It's all about traffic on that stage.
Oh, my goodness. And it was also great to watch the opening number because, you know, we were standing behind the scrim waiting to enter. So we never got a chance to really watch it. So it's fun to be able to see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had never seen a professional production of The Music Man, if you can believe that, until Goodspeed did it. And I had never really appreciated that number, that Rock Island number. It was just spectacular. And
it's insane.
It's
just a toss away.
Applaud those guys too for those lyrics. Just getting those lyrics out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I gotta say, every time
But there were moments, right?
there were some moments. Well, and you know, and Mingo Long, who is one of my favorite, not just one of my favorite performers, but one of my favorite human beings ever, is kind of known for, you know, some malapropisms. And I gotta say, I mean, there was a couple of moments in rehearsal where he let a couple things fly that we were like,
what are you talking about?
But he nailed it. He never did that on, you know, once we were in performance, he was rock solid in Rock Island. But he just he makes my heart soar. He's one of those people that just makes me happy.
And Jen, this was your first time directing Music Man, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And what made you, I know that we gave you, you know, a list of choices. What made you so interested in this one?
Oh, it wasn't a list of choices. It was.
I don't think it was a list of choices. No,
I didn't get a list of choices. I haven't gotten to that level yet.
That's not true. That's not true. You have given me a list.
But you know, when we knew we were doing that like way in advance, right? I remember I came up to see Rags actually, which was after Oklahoma. So that's like fall of 17.
2017, yeah.
Right. And I came to you know, wanted to come up and see the show, of course. And Donalyn said, you know, can you come up a little bit before and meet with me and Michael? And I was like, of course. And that's where they sprung that on me. Because I think you guys had just gotten the rights. I think there'd been a long sort of process of wanting to get those rights, and they had just become available, right?
We had been trying to get them for some time, and our contact at MTI called and said, if you want to do it,
do it now.
19's the time, because of course they couldn't tell us that the Hugh Jackman version was coming, but that was what was coming.
Right. So they said, you know, guess what? And would you want to? And I mean, they didn't even get the words all the way out. I was like, yes. Yes, I will do it. I mean, you know,
but talk about that. Why did you have that reaction to it? Because I think I was a little surprised that it being absolutely no offense, because we need these old war horses, but because it was an old war horse, I wasn't sure that it would appeal to you.
Well, I love an old war horse, you know. I've been known to. I mean, something that I love to do, and that's something that I love at. I've been given such a great opportunity at Goodspeed in particular to do that. Is I do love revivals. I love, figuring that out and finding out, reinvestigating, and my goal and my sort of challenge to myself is to approach the old shows just as I would approach the new shows, which is like, what is vital and important about telling the story. And it's so, a lot of these shows, some of them certainly show their age. Some of them show their age more than others, and it's more of a challenge. But there's, a lot of them are just so unbelievably beautifully constructed. This is one of those classic shows that is like top to tail, solid as they come. And, it's a no-brainer. Music Man at Goodspeed is sort of like, I don't know, like the apple pie and ice cream. I mean, it's like the perfect combination, right? So I love that. And I love to seek out and find what is going to be, what's my way in. How do I imagine it?
How'd you find your way into this one?
Well, I have a history with it because I did the show twice as a kid. So I was in the show, I was a kid actor and I was in the show twice. I played Amaryllis and then I played Winthrop. Actually, I think I played Winthrop first and then I played Amaryllis. So I had a strange sort of POV of that show from the child's point of view, which I actually have a lot of, that going on in my life. But what was my way in? For the way that we work, Patty and I love to work with Patty. Patty and I work together all the time. And we sort of lock ourselves right down here in this basement and go over, we call it breaking the back of a show. And we sit down and we literally go page by page by page. And something that I love about working with Patty is she's so interested in the narrative of the story. We really break down every song, even the really heavy lifting, especially the heavy lifting dance numbers, to talk about like what's the story, what's the story you want to tell. We start here and then what happens and then what happens and what happens and we end here. And I think it's a hallmark certainly of why I love that partnership. And I'm always in this goal to make it as seamless as possible, that there's no handoff between the book and the choreography, that it's all part of one thing. And, there's a lot of logistics to figure out, as we talked about at Goodspeed, in terms of just the technical aspects and movement. This was my biggest show there in terms of the number of people and maybe even number of locations, certainly more than Oklahoma. I mean, right. Birdie had a lot. So the design, that design process.
Segue. I'm going to stop you right there because that's a good segue to our next clip. Dan.
Ed Watts again with the company 76 Trombones. We got to watch this one.
76 trombones led the big parade with 110 cornets closely packed. They were followed by rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 76 trombones caught the morning sun with 110 cornets right behind. There were more than 1,000 reeds springing up like weeds. There were horns of every shape and kind. There were copper-bottom, timpani, and horse platoon. Thundering, thundering all along the way. Double bell euphoniums and big bassoons. Each bassoon having his big fat say. There were 50 mounted cannon in the battery. Thundering, thundering, louder than before. Clarinets of every size and trumpeters who improvise a full octave higher than the score.
Jeez. I'm tired just watching it.
Patty needs a break now. I'm exhausted. So, Patty, that was your second show on the Opera House stage, right? Music Man was the second show you choreographed at the Opera House, and Bye Bye Birdie was a whole different set of challenges. Was there ever a moment where you thought you'd lost your mind to accept that job, to have to fit all that on stage?
No, but you do it in sections. So what I would do would be the dancers on a number like that and figure out what the space is and then add in the singer. And the joke that Jen and I always had is if you had to go to get a costume fitting or something, you may not end up in the number because
we kind of famously have an actress who's been in several shows at Goodspeed. I will not name her. And she would like sneak off stage. One of those numbers, she would manage to go sit in a chair on the side, and then you'd finish the number and go, "Where is she?" And she was not in the number, and you go, "Oh, never mind."
Right. Yeah. But you know, it's kind of a puzzle because you figure out where they can kick and then where they have to turn and where they have to like pull the leg in and not kick and then kick another direction so they all stay safe. So it's just it's doing it in sections is the way I figured out how to work that space.
Yeah.
Well, you do it flawlessly. And now, Stephanie, our next clip is Pick a Little, Talk a Little. With you in one of the great comic roles of musical theater. We'd love to hear about your experience with the show.
My experience with the show?
Yeah.
Oh, listen, it was so amazing and fantastic and fun, and really just an honor to be a part of it. I mean, I have to tell you, I'm sure we're going to get into the whole casting and how creative, Jen was with all of that. And just to have that opportunity to do such an iconic role, and bring myself to it, that was the key. We weren't being asked to sort of paint a picture that had been painted before. We had that freedom to sort of make it our own. So that's what made it extra special. But it was, so much fun. So much fun.
Let's look at the clip.
Oh, yes, that woman made brazen overtures with a gilt-edged guarantee. She had a golden glint in her eye and a silver voice with a counterfeit ring. Just melt her down and you'll reveal a lump of lead as cold as steel. Here, where a woman's heart should be. He left River City, the library building, but he left all the books to her. Chaucer, Rabelais, Balzac.
Oh my goodness.
I just love it. I never got tired of watching it. Never got tired. Oh my goodness.
And I also just say that Stephanie is like an idol in the dance world. So she's an icon. And so many people aspired always to dance it like she did. She's just beautiful. So to see her in this kind of role and to see her take a role like this was wonderful for us all to see every day.
I remember in the casting section seeing Stephanie Pope, and I went, "The Stephanie Pope?" Like, really? Coming in for Goodspeed?
We're like, we'll take her.
Yeah.
No, it was. I have to say, I always pay homage to, the great Fosse, Mr. Bob Fosse, who I had a chance to work with early on, my very first show, and who taught me so much and gave me the inspiration that even in a role like that, you're still dancing, right? No matter what, you're telling a story. So it's a natural progression. And a funny thing about the audition process. Well, Miss Patricia Wilcox is someone who I have always admired and always wanted to work with, and we've never had the opportunity to work together. But I have to tell you, when I walked into that room, of course, Jen was so friendly and laughing and having such a good time, and Miss Patty was just kind of there. And I thought, oh my God, I was terrified. Like, I was back to being like, 19 years old. And I was just trying to do my best, But I was so excited when I learned that I would be working with both of them. So it was great.
Well, thank you, but I will be changing my face from now on.
Yeah, you know, we have a thing going. It's another good thing about us. It's like, you know, good guy, bad guy kind of vibe that we get. You know, I let Patty's the enforcer.
But I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something funny about that. In my experience with auditions, and maybe you guys have experienced this as well. When we're having too much of a good time, that's when I say I did not get it. You know, when they're not having such a good time, you think, oh, maybe I'm being considered. So it was okay that you had that face on you, Pat.
Okay, good.
We are working behind the table. We are working, right. But I want to segue a little bit and talk, Jen, about the casting choices that were made in the show, because that was something that was important to you from the very beginning. So talk to us about that if you would.
Well, to be honest, it's always important to me. And so, and, you know, that's something that's been, you know, in evidence in all my work at Goodspeed. And, you know, I think I feel like, and this predates, you know, the current temperature of the country and everything that's going on.
Yep.
But I think the fastest way to age a musical, an older musical, is to have an all-white cast. You know, it's you want it to look like America Now. You want it's sort of the easiest way to modernize and refresh some of these older shows. And there's absolutely, I don't ever understand any argument to not do it. First of all, it expands your talent pool, you know, exponentially, and it's you're just cutting yourself out of so much opportunity of great storytelling and great theater artists and all of those things. So that's always my aim with this particular show. I also love to do a lot of research. It's sort of my bag, and I did a lot of research, and I found all of this great information about the sort of birth of barbershop quartets, which I think are, you know, I think when we think of them now, we sort of think of like Disneyland and those dudes in the striped, you know, jackets walking around Main Street. And it's a very white sort of, you know, vanilla view of that. And the real true history of barbershop is Black. I mean, entirely. Like, that's the history of it. That's where it came from. And it was sort of co-opted, actually. So that was part of a little bit of that jumping off point, just diving into the history of that, because that's such a huge part of Music Man, and those iconic songs and those harmonies, and that was part of it. And then just was just accidental in the research. I found this history of this town called Buxton, which is a town in Iowa, exactly existing in the same time as Music Man. It was a boom town, like a coal town. In like its big heyday was like 1900 to 1920. They ran out of coal and it kind of fell down. But this town that was remarkable for its integration. It was a completely integrated town, where it was almost 50-50% Black and white people living side by side, making the same amount of money. You know, 2 Black doctors, 2 white doctors serving the entire population. I mean, I had never heard of it. Never seen anything about that. And I was so bolstered by that and inspired by that. And I thought, you know, you hear a lot in these situations of like, well, what's realistic? Would this be realistic? Which I'm not particularly interested in anyway. I think authentic is different than realistic. Yes. It has to be authentic because that's what makes good art. But realistic, I mean, people don't walk down the street and burst into song and start kicking their legs in the air. So realism doesn't really apply.
The world is changing.
Not yet. It might be better if they did. But anyway, I love that I found that wasn't the inspiration, because the cast had already been set when I found that town. But I just loved learning about that. A piece of history I had no idea about, that I think a lot of people don't have any idea about.
No, of course not. It's not taught.
And sharing that with this company, because, you know, when you make a company, you make a family. Yeah. You make your own town. And the story of Music Man is this group of people that are really disconnected and unhappy and crabby and out of sorts. And they are brought together by the love of art. by love of music. And so there's a lot of meta, ways in for a theater company. You bring together, 25 people from different life experiences, different ages, different levels of experience, different places in their careers, all of those things. We have children in this show. We ran the gamut. It's a big social experiment. You put all these people together and you got to make a family. You got to get everybody in the same town on the same page. And so, and it was a really stellar group of people who came to have fun and tell the story and be good to each other, which is a hugely important thing to me. And it was a really fun room. It was a really fun room to be in. And just watching those clips, just amazed at those kids.
That comes to the top, and Jen and Patty set that energy and that spirit in the room. So thank you for that.
If you're not having fun, you're wasting your time. I mean, honestly. And do we feel that way so much more even now? Yeah. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm like salivating. I'm like, oh my God, just to be in the presence of that talent, just to watch those kids do that.
Okay, well, let's watch some more of it. Yes. Okay. So what do we have next, Dan? Oh, yes. Ellie Fishman, the beautiful, talented, wonderful Ellie Fishman and Ed Watts leading the company in Marion the Librarian is up next.
What can I do, my dear, to catch your ear? I love you madly, madly, Madam Librarian. Marion, heaven help us if the library caught on fire and the volunteer hose brigade men had to whisper the news to Marion. Madam Librarian.
We should note that Patty was honored by the Connecticut Critics Circle for her best choreography for last season for this show. We just saw some of that. Patty, what I want to know is, did you do any dance arranging specific to this production?
Oh, yes. Yes, very much so. Especially Marion the Librarian. We really, what I did is went back and blueprinted it. And what the story was, Ken and I were working really closely together, like we always do. And it was, what is this section about? And what's the trajectory of the story? And you can't always fit those stories into the existing arrangements because those choreographers had different ideas than you possibly did. So we did this blueprint and then took it to Dan and Michael O'Flaherty and came up with certainly where the accents were, but where the dynamic of it changed, where it got quiet, where it got louder, where it got out of control, when we had to pull it in. And that's the most fun to do, is to create our own stories within the context of what the show is.
Yeah, I don't think many people in the audience really realize that extra level of work that goes on, not just taking a score and putting dance to it. You're actually creating the whole thing. Which
Jen and I did with Got a Lot of Living and Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes.
Total reconception. So it's fun to do that because you feel like you imprint, your own artistry into an existing story.
Oh, absolutely.
It's interesting on a show like this, though, because it's so famous. And that number in particular, I mean, we struggled with some of that because there is, you have to ring a couple of bells. Otherwise, you're in danger of people like throwing popcorn at you and asking for a refund. You have to fulfill your obligation to what some of those iconic moments are. So really the challenge becomes, how do you scratch that itch, but bring it forward for a modern audience, and also show your own, also showcase the talent that you have, and and showcase your own, tell your own story. So it's there's a lot of components to it, and I'm glad you brought up Dan and Michael, because that music is, I was listening to one of the earlier clips, I think 76 trombones, and I'm amazed at Dan's orchestrations. He makes it sound like there's 30 pieces there. It's just
Dan DeLange is a magician.
He's a magician.
Let's listen to some more. Now, one of the most beautiful songs, I think, in musical theater is My White Knight. So let's go back to Ellie Fishman singing that, and let's listen.
My white knight, not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings, just someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. My white knight, what my heart would say if it only knew how. Please, dear Venus, show me now. All I want is a plain man. All I want is a modest man, a quiet man, a gentle man, a straightforward and honest man to sit with me in a cottage somewhere in the state of Iowa, and I would like him to be more interested in me than he is in himself, and more interested in us than in me. And if occasionally he'd ponder what makes Shakespeare and Beethoven great, him I could love till I die. Him I could love till I die. My white knight, not a Lancelot, nor an angel with wings, just someone to love me, who is not ashamed of a few nice things. My white knight, let me walk with him where the others ride by. Walk and love him till I die. Till
So beautiful.
It is.
Can I tell you how much I love those two women? We got to share a dressing room together. First of all, I joined a couple days late into the rehearsal process, and they were the first two people who greeted me. And then I found out that we were sharing a dressing room together. And Ellie, of course, the voice of an angel, and the most grounded. She's, in her 20s, I believe, so young, so grounded, so down to earth. And Amelia, the funniest woman I've ever met in my entire life. And we had the best time on stage and off. And that doesn't always happen. So love them.
No. Lovely, lovely. No, we sort of discovered Ellie when we were casting Rags. I think she got her equity card at Goodspeed. She can correct me if I'm wrong about that. And as soon as we started talking about The Music Man, I said to Paul, we need to see Ellie. I think that she could be absolutely beautiful in this role.
And boy, did she beat out a lot of people, man. We saw a lot of people for that role, and big time heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a little bit of a risk because she is, you know, as Stephanie said, you know, she's very young, and you know, what a great gamble that was.
Yeah,
that turned out to be
just beautiful. All right, another classic moment, the Wells Fargo wagon. It's like when we did Singing in the Rain, people said, but it can't rain. Of course it could rain. We have to, you know, so of course we're going to have a wagon, and we had a horse too. Let's look at this clip and we'll see if you can spot the horse.
Oh, no.
Could be curtains or dishes or a double boiler, or it could be.
Yes, it could be. Yes, you're right. It surely could be.
Something special.
Something very, very special now, just for me.
It's really hard to see.
It is.
There is a horse.
That might be merciful.
You know, we're running out of time, so I want to move quickly to another dance clip. Let's see Jusan Williams as Marcellus Washburn and Shipoopi.
Now, a woman who kisses on the very first date is usually a hussy, and a woman who kisses on the second time out is anything but fussy. But a woman who waits till the third time around, head in the clouds, feet on the ground, she's the girl he's glad he's found. She's his Shipoopi, 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 Shipoopi.
The girl who's hard to get.
Shipoopi, Shipoopi, Shipoopi.
But you can't win her yet.
Shipoopi, Shipoopi, Shipoopi.
The girl who's hard to get.
Shipoopi, Shipoopi, Shipoopi.
But you can't win her yet.
Beautiful. Such beautiful work. Patty, such beautiful work.
Oh, no, where's Stephanie?
Where's
Stephanie?
Stephanie? Oh, she may have had a connectivity problem. Hopefully she'll be able to rejoin us.
I have to say one thing about Shipoopi, which is that it's not really about anything. And then Jen one day said, while we were breaking its back, Jen said, it's where Harold Hill falls in love with the town. And that was it. You just,
wow,
one sentence, and it changes everything. It gives the joy context.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's what it is to have a great director. So
I'll remember that always.
Yeah, yeah. We
better. And I gotta just say, Jusan, man. I mean, he was just he was so great. Just hearing that voice and just you know, what a shot in the arm.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of our time together. I promise you I wouldn't keep you all night. Before we go, it is my job to offer a special thank you to all of our audience members who have contributed to our Footlights campaign, who have contributed your ticket refunds to Goodspeed or made a separate contribution. We are really, really grateful for your support. We are going to make it through this. but it is not easy, and it helps so much to know that you guys are there, that you're tuning in for this, and we just really want to say thank you so much. If you want to do more, you can visit goodspeed.org to make a contribution. Thank you.
And as we head into July, we're going to change our Great Speed schedule a bit. We'll now go every other week instead of every week. So join us in 2 weeks on July 14th when we look back at La Cage aux Folles with special guests Jameson Stern and James Lloyd Reynolds. And I'm sure it'll be the best of times. I had to say that.
Very good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I know. Thank you.
All right. So here's hoping everyone has a safe and healthy and socially distanced fun July 4th holiday. Please take good care, wear your mask, continue to be safe so that we can all get back to work as soon as
congrats,
possible.
Connecticut. Congrats on those great numbers. Congrats on those numbers.
New York is business.
New York is going to try to match you.
Keep up, New York. Come after us.
Go, Nutmeggers.
We welcome the challenge. All right. Thank you all for being with us, and we will enjoy one final look back at Goodspeed's 2019 production of the music.
Stephanie!
76 trombones led the big parade with 110 cornets close at hand. They were full of rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 76 trombones led the big parade with 110 cornets close at hand. They were full of rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band.